All right guys, here we are with another video on hitting strips and hitting mats. This is video number 2, this time about the Holy Grail hitting strip from Gung Ho Golf. I will be releasing, I think, at least 7 videos in total of different mats and hitting strips that I've tested here in the garage. So if you haven't subscribed already, please do so that you won't miss any new ones as they're released. Right, so we've got the Holy Grail hitting strip. It is a divot action style hitting strip, and I will show you what that looks like right here. This is it. You may have seen something like this before. You can definitely do this DIY style, or you can purchase one just like this and it's ready to go. So what does it consist of? There's basically 3 layers from top to bottom, and on the top you've got what is a basically a putting turf. They actually list on their website that this is GrassTech's Money Putt, which I really appreciate that they tell you that, just in case you want to use the same turf for the rest of your simulator flooring. Everything will match perfectly, and you can buy that from them as well if you'd like. So the top layer is putting turf, and then underneath that, this black area here, that is what I believe to be a polycarbonate, which is a kind of a flexible plastic that's pretty solid. So it's rigid enough to keep the putting turf flat, but obviously can still be bent, and allows you to take kind of a divot action. So that's this black layer here. It looks like it's about 1/16 inch thick. And then on the bottom, you've got these 3 rows of foam, and that is what is going to absorb the impact of your hit. And this is actually super squishy. Just want to show you that this is that really light foam that doesn't take much to compress at all, just using my finger and not pressing that hard. So super squishy, super soft. I would say that this is definitely on the softer side of all of the mats and strips that I have tested. And then on both ends, front and back, you've got what I think is 1 inch thick foam, but it's much harder. As you can see, compressing it doesn't do a whole lot. And then on the top of that, you've got a strip of Velcro on both ends ready to put down to be held in place. So that is pretty much all the components that make this strip up. Just looking at it out of the box, I was super pleased, I guess, with the craftsmanship. Like I said, this is something that you can make yourself, obviously, but if you just look at how it's done here, everything is perfectly straight, corners are square, there's no glue everywhere. It definitely, you know, is professionally made. So that was one thing that I did appreciate right out of the box. So this size that I have here is 12 by 46.5, and that size is made to fit the Fiberbuilt grass mat exactly. So this can be a solution for a replacement if you don't want to use your Fiberbuilt grass anymore. You want something that's a little bit more of a regular solid surface than the grass bristles. You can buy one of these straight from Gung Ho Golf, and it will fit like a glove. So that was another thing. I just popped it into this space, and it really does fit like a glove. It matches perfectly in height and in the little pocket to drop down in there. So I was very pleased with that as well. So they also offer it in multiple other sizes. If you're not worried about that, you don't want it that long, you can do, I think think it's 12 by 30 and maybe 12 by 36. Have to double check that, but more of a typical size that you would get in a hitting strip. And what you would do is drop that into another mat that you have. You'd have to cut an insert for it or drop it into your 1-inch foam flooring like I have here. You would just trace that, cut into it, and insert it there. So what does the Holy Grail feel like? I've already said it's on the softer side. And you know, I really enjoyed hitting off of it, especially this being one of the first hitting strips that I tested after my Fiberbuilt grass. You know, it's very soft. Does it feel like taking a divot? That was one of the questions that I had right from the beginning. I was curious about. I'm gonna say yes and no. You can definitely hit down and through the foam. I don't have it Velcroed down, so the ends will pop up whenever I do that. But you can definitely hit down and through the foam, which is good. You know, there's some things about it that are a little unrealistic, and I feel like that is if you, let me see if I grab the camera here, and I will show you close up. So if I just press down, the whole board goes down with it, right? Of course, because it's on that polycarbonate, that plastic, so the whole board is going to go down. You know, to me, that kind of feels like, I could only describe it as like one of those springboards that they use in gymnastics. It doesn't feel springy, but I kind of get a little bit of the sensation of like the whole board is going down, which isn't something that you would normally feel in golf. You kind of just feel the club head. So, does it feel bad? No, absolutely not. I'm just not sure how else to describe the feeling without you trying it yourself. But it is definitely soft enough that I would not worry about injury to your lead arm. Can't imagine that being a problem with this. And definitely for like those short shots and chipping, having a softer hitting strip I've found with all of that definitely feels nicer than something that is completely solid. Like this stance mat here, it has really no cushion, no give or whatever. But whenever you got something a little bit softer and you take like a chip shot, pitch shot, something with not very much force, being that it's softer, it still kind of lets you get under the ball, kind of like soft turf would. And that's a nice feeling. And you definitely get that with this. So what did I not like about it? One thing, I don't know if you noticed, but those 3 foam strips, they didn't go all the way to the edges with those. And so if you maybe can see on the camera, it kind of wobbles a little bit, especially if you get the ball closer to one of the edges, you ground your club, there's a little bit of wobble to it. And it's not a big deal, obviously, you know, it doesn't really affect things. But I did kind of feel like there's a difference when I, you know, line the ball up on one of the outer edges versus dead center. And I did notice that it did cause at least 1 or 2 misreads for me, because especially with driver, when I would, I'd have the ball teed up, and because this is, you know, basically my heaviest club with this big club head, I would ground the club, and I don't know if you can see from there, but just grounding the club makes it wobble a little bit. So I would maybe, in my takeaway, kind of drag it or something along the edge, and it would wobble just enough for my launch monitor to lose tracking on the ball for just a second, which would cause a misread. That happened a couple of times when I was using my Bushnell Launch Pro. Once I kind of figured out what was going on, I was aware of it, it stopped. but it was just something that then I had to be aware of. So, you know, basically, I don't like the wobble on that. So, as I mentioned, you can't use a real tee. So I was using these burr tees. You may have seen them before. They're just plastic cones. You got to use this or something like that with the Holy Grail. So you just place it down, tee it up, and there you go. So just doing something like that kind of causes the ball to wiggle a little bit, and that's all it takes to lose the lock on the golf ball for just a minute. So I already mentioned, you know, it's a great Fiberbuilt replacement just to drop in if you buy this size. Otherwise, you have to cut it into your simulated flooring or cut it into an old mat that you want to use as a stance mat and drop it in there. Or they also sell a complete mat that's either single hitting like this or center hitting for lefties and righties. So that's a complete solution. You don't have to do anything. Just buy the mat. It's already got the hole for it and it's inserted in there and you are good to go. I don't think I've got much else on the Gung Ho Holy Grail. Now, another one just like this is the Carl's Divot hitting strip from Carl's Place. I tested that out as well, got it over there, and we'll be releasing a video on that. The major difference there is that Carl's Place offers theirs in what they call an advanced or a beginner version, which is two different types of foam underneath. And so if you're interested in this style of hitting strip, definitely keep an eye out for that video I'll release in the near future on the Carl's version. And that is about it, guys. So I will put links in the description for all of this stuff. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I would love to try and help you out if I can. And that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed. Give me a like, subscribe. See you next time. Thanks.